Good evening and welcome to the Manteno Village Board meeting for Monday, November 20th, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Boyce. Here. Martin. Here. Dole. Here. Crockett. Here. Geske. Here. Phillips. Here.
We have a quorum. Tonight, as always, we begin with the approval of our minutes. We have our minutes from our TIF joint review meeting from November 6, 2023, as well as our regular village board meeting from November 6, 2023. Hopefully, everyone has had the opportunity to review the minutes. Are there any changes, additions, deletions, corrections? Seeing none, I'd accept the motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented by the clerk.
I'll make them.
Motion by Martin. Second by Phillips. Roll call.
Martin.
Yes.
Phillips. Yes. Boyce.
Yes.
Dole.
Yes.
Crockett.
Yes.
Geske.
Yes.
Motion carries. Public participation. Before we start, again, I want to go ahead and read the comment for the evening. Public comments, a time for you to address the board with comments. This is not a question and answer session. If you have topics that you would like addressed, you can contact the village administrator during the normal business hours to set up an appointment, and he will attempt to address those concerns to the best of his ability. Each commenter will be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that if your comments have already been made by a previous commenter, that you don't continually repeat the same comments. The village will continue to update the frequently asked questions section on the village website as questions come in that are pertinent to the project and are answerable by the village administration. Our first commenter is Ron Brown.
Hello, my name is Ron Brown. At first, I'm not here to talk to the board, but to talk to the people of Manteno about this board. This board is a public body, and they answer to you, the people. Rezoning property from light industrial to heavy industrial can have significant impacts on the community, including changes to the land use, noise levels, air and water quality. As such, the mayor and the village board have several responsibilities and obligations to the people they represent when considering such a rezoning. The mayor and the village board must engage with the community and consult with residents, businesses, and other stakeholders before making a decision on rezoning. This includes public meetings, providing information on proposed zoning, and soliciting feedback from the community. This should be done in a way where proper dialogue and debate can take place. This board refuses to answer questions in such a way as to where there can be an exchange of ideas or debate on concerns and rebuttals. Hopefully tomorrow night's meeting will be different. The mayor and the village board must ensure that an environmental impact assessment is conducted to assess the potential impacts of the rezoning on the environment, including air, land, noise, pollution, as well as water quality. I found that to be interesting, so I called the village to request copies of the documentation of the environmental impact studies that should have been done so that the board could be completely educated before considering whether or not to proceed with this major development. I was put through to Chris LaRock, the village administrator, and was told that there were no such documentation because no impact studies have been done. I have done a lot of research about potential hazards of lithium-ion battery manufacturing plants to the immediate and surrounding areas and its environment. What I've found has been very eye-opening and disturbing. The potential destruction to the environment and the possible complete annihilation of Manteno is not hyperbole. These issues need to be taken very seriously and addressed with the utmost consideration given to ensure the safety and well-being of every citizen. Why would any American public body try to push such a dangerous development to be constructed in such close proximity to residential areas, schools, churches, businesses, and interstate? My only assumption, since this board refuses to answer any questions, is corrupt politics and greedy ideals. What do the current people of Manteno have to gain from bringing this proposed development to our town compared to the possible negative effects? Why do you think these people, the public body right here that works for you, would be so willing to go forward with this project without doing any impact studies? We are only left to guess since the public body does not address these issues in any way where we can have proper dialogue or debate. Now I wish to address the board.
The next lady has given him his time too. So
Okay.
go ahead.
Now I wish to address the board. Are you, the trustees, aware of what you are involved in? Do you fully understand the implications of your voice in this matter? Do you, with a clear conscience, believe that this Chinese battery plant in such close proximity to our town, our homes, our schools, and our children does not warrant further study? I look at you now and speak directly to you. Put a pause on this development. Bring in an independent third party and have them do a thorough and complete environmental as well as health, economic, social, and cultural impact study. I'm sure that if you were to do so, you would be able to make a more informed decision. Do the right thing for your family. Do the right thing for your neighbors. Do the right thing for your community. Do the right thing for your country. Remember, China is not our friend, but our town and our environment are. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. The next commenter is Diana Baker.
Good evening. This is for all the zoning board members who are going to be voting soon, and I hope they're all watching this on TV because I didn't see many of them here, and to all the village board members who may ultimately have the final say. There is no way you can in good conscience rezone the Kmart property to heavy industrial, and I'm going to give you several reasons why. Number one, heavy industrial is not supposed to occur anywhere near homes, and you have an entire subdivision literally across the street. And if you were informed about the parameters of what you're doing, you will see that zoning that heavy industrial is not legally feasible either. Another reason you can't vote for heavy industrial is the fact you do not even have the full information about the factory that you are rezoning for. You're taking the word of a man who signed a non-disclosure agreement with a foreign enemy. If that doesn't give you pause, then there's something wrong with you. Furthermore, in reading the zoning request, I would draw your attention to number 9 that says, state the reason for the rezoning map amendment. It said, this rezoning request is necessary to accommodate the company's proposed use of the property, including, but not limited to, the high-tech manufacturing of new energy storage systems. Did you catch the part about not limited to? How can you give a blank check to any industrial company when the people of Manteno have to pay the price for that check with their health? This factory could end up making nuclear warheads, a biolab, fentanyl, etc., because you're not putting any parameters on it. Why would you even consider doing that to your neighbors or even your own family? At the very least, you should make them rewrite their request with specific parameters. Remember, you are all here to do what is right for the good of the town, and I like to think that you are all intelligent people that can think for yourselves. You don't need Mayor Nugent, Francis Smith, and the governor of Illinois telling you what to do. So don't be complicit in what is nothing short of a treasonous, in my opinion, money laundering event that will environmentally ruin our town and put all of our lives at risk. Vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. The next commenter is Sandy Chiz.
I'm here because I fear what might happen if the Goshen factory is allowed here. You haven't gotten the handouts yet, but this is the cover. It's a picture of the fire in Morris, Illinois in 2019. It burned for, a week before they could figure out what they could do to put it out. I don't want to live less than a mile away from something that could very well end up looking like this. I was in Israel on October 6th and 7th when the war broke out. We were 5 miles from rockets. I don't want to see that ever again. I don't want to see explosions ever again. That was too close. And I don't want to look out my window and see anything like this. So, I think you need to vote no, or retract, or rescind the contract and get out of this deal. Thank you.
Thank you. The next commenter is Annette Lamore.
Good evening, everyone. I know you've heard from me a few times. Tonight, I'm going to read you my open letter to the Planning Commission. I am writing to ask you to represent the good people of Manteno when you are asked to vote on Tuesday. The future of our peaceful small town is in your hands. I believe that no one who lives here wants dangerous and highly explosive chemicals in our town. And I also believe that no one here wants a company that is pledged to communism to come to Manteno, especially American patriots like myself and the families of veterans and first responders. There is no amount of money that makes this battery project okay. It is also a travesty that our governor is willing to give $8 billion of taxpayer money to a foreign company to build a $2 billion factory. Why aren't we inviting American companies into our town? No matter how many jobs this will bring into Manteno, it is not worth sacrificing the safety and well-being of our town. How many people will get sick because of the chemicals? How many hundreds of people, even from foreign countries, will move into Manteno and crowd our schools to the point where our taxes go up to build more schools and improvements to support them? What if we have a lithium fire? They are impossible to put out with water or chemicals. The only thing that works is pouring on concrete. What if we have an explosion? How many people will die? Will we have to build a bigger fire department? Again, our taxes go up. How do we keep first responders safe? How do we keep our citizens safe? Is this something you want? Please do not allow this to happen. For our sake and for yours, vote no to changing the zoning. You and your fellow Planning Commission members can be the heroes who stop this insane political movement from happening to all of us. A recent poll by WirePoints has shown that 59% of people in Kankakee County are against this battery factory. Please represent the people and not the politicians. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next commenter is Corey Dockery.
I'm going to yield my time to the lawyer.
Okay. The next commenter is Bob Forsythe.
How you doing tonight, Tim? I saw you at the Economic Alliance meeting. Fantastic. You did a great job. He's trying to sell everybody on the safety and how that building and all the businesses are so close together. I was shocked by the faces that I saw when I walked in that building. A lot of familiar faces. People that are on the same boards. I got to see you. Got to see Michael Boyd. Got to see the Riverside president. I got to see Andy Wheeler. He's a real piece of work, too. So, I got to see Pat Martin. I got to see some other people that are on the Kankakee Planning and Zoning Board. So, I mean, I looked at it, I watched it. I'm sorry I pissed in your Cheerios at the last comment, but you know what? It happened. Chris Breach, he misrepresented me. I wasn't angry, I wasn't frustrated. I was disgusted by what I saw. Patting yourself on the back, thinking this is the greatest thing for Manteno, and it's not. You know, the other thing I'd like to comment on is I saw you at the, well, actually I didn't see you, but I've asked around, and you never presented this to the entire school board in Manteno. You presented it to the comptroller for the school district, and he promoted it as a tax cap. So you really never went and saw the school board and told them what this was. So they voted on something they had no idea. Really a good idea. So maybe people need to go back and revote. Maybe you need to tell everybody what it is, but your non-disclosure, and you did a good job representing the Alliance Board. Manteno, you represent Manteno, you do a horrible job because you don't represent us. You don't even listen to us. You know, I did happen to call the Board of Land Management, and I spoke to them. And environmental impact studies are always done before planning and zoning is done. So all these things go in line, and you're just trying to change it around. So, and it is done by a third party. And that third party is are contractors, lawyers, scientists, engineers, and they have to determine whether it's a good quality human environment. And also, public comment, suggestions are all supposed to be listened to, which you definitely shut us off. But the review, the environmental impact reviews, studies need to be performed before any funds, regardless of the source,
That's your
are
time.
committed to the project.
Can you wrap it up, Bob?
So, but, you know, Tim, I don't know where you're at. I don't know where you guys are at here. But if he misrepresented himself at one board, how many other ones did he misrepresent himself to? Nobody can believe you anymore. And I hope that the trustees actually remember that you didn't represent Manteno. And when they come down for, you in the opening, you said Chris can answer the questions as well as possible, as well as he can. Well, he can't. He only answers what you tell him to say. I've been in his office before, and his flat-out words to me was, he works for you. No, he doesn't work for you. He works for us. We definitely stand behind him if he worked for us. So you know what, Tim? I am really disgusted in you. You haven't proved yourself to be a mayor that represents the village of Manteno at all. You represent yourself and that economic board that's a farce.
Thank you. The next commenter is Robbie Doobie,
Thank you.
and you've got extra time this other gentleman gave to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you for having me here, Board. I know tensions are high. I don't have the honor and privilege of being a resident of Manteno, but I am here on behalf of many of the citizens that I represent. And I wish I could say that yours is the only community that's been ripped apart like this, but it's not. This is happening across the country of people who genuinely believe they can help their community with a large economic project getting into something that ultimately does not help their community. But there are steps that you can take right now to ensure and give assurance to your community that you are actually representing them and that you are doing the job to make sure that their safety is being kept in mind, that their security is being kept in mind, and that their voices are being listened to. The first thing I want to direct you to is the CFIUS process. Now, maybe you've heard of this. I'm pretty sure you have because I've seen some of the emails back and forth. I've seen the message to the media that Goshen has passed national security reviews. That's not accurate. Under the CFIUS process, there are two different ways that you can go. You can do a short form declaration with very basic information, or you can do a full notice form. Under Goshen, what Goshen has done is they submitted a short form declaration earlier when they put forward an Alabama plant. That was approved back when Goshen was majority owned by Volkswagen, a German company. That's when their parent company in China was fully owned by a German company. That short form declaration was again used in Michigan. Since that time, Volkswagen was forced to sell its majority ownership to members of the Chinese Politburo. And I know you sit here and you listen and you hear people say, oh, China and communists, and you want to just say, oh, they're just racist. No, they're not. This isn't about racism. This isn't about where the people come from. It is about the fact that this is a country that has avowed stated interest in undermining America. It is about a country that has said, and the company that has said, it is an organ of the Chinese Communist Party. That is what is now the majority owner of the parent company of Goshen. So where does CFIUS come in? You have a right as a village to request Goshen go through and answer a full notice form. If Goshen truly is not a threat to the community, if it truly is a neighbor that deserves to be here, it should have no qualms answering a long form. There'd be no reason not to, right? It's not a national security threat. Except we know that it won't. Because the citizens that I represent in Michigan, in Big Rapids Township, they asked Goshen to submit to a full, long-form CFIUS notice. You know what Goshen did? It ran away. It left Big Rapids and found a different town in Michigan to try to subject itself to. A town, by the way, which just recalled all of its board members. I understand you as trustees are under a lot of pressure. And I know that there is frustration from the people here, and I'm sure there's frustration up there too, but there is a simple step that can be done to ensure to these good people gathered here that you really do care about the security, and that you're not just taking Goshen's word for it, but that you are doing your job to hold Goshen accountable. All you have to do as a village is submit a long-form notice to the CFIUS committee, and then you have the right to ask Goshen whatever full-blown questions you want. If they answer and the CFIUS committee approves them, that's going to go tremendously far in showing these people that you're doing the job that you swore that you would do, and that you're upholding the pledge that you just took 20 minutes ago. But if you're not even willing to take that simple step, which you have every right to do, or if Goshen isn't even willing to answer the questions that it has to answer, that should tell you something. That should tell you something about this company that you want to put next to people's homes, that you want to bring into your community. If they really are the friend they claim to be, just ask them to prove it. Do the long form review. You have the right to do it. It's a very simple step for this village, and there's really, as far as I can see, no valid basis not to ask for it. The next thing you can do is ask Goshen to release you from the NDA. We see this around the country. They come into communities of people who truly care about the people and about the environment, and they say, you need to sign an NDA or we're not doing this. You have a duty to the people to disclose necessary information. I don't doubt that you've been advised that you can do that and sign an NDA. I disagree. I think the law is very clear that that's a breach of fiduciary duty, but you have another option here. Just ask to be let out of the NDA. Goshen doesn't have to enforce it against you. They can say, we are going to let you out of this. Have you asked? Have you even tried to get out of it? Do you want to? I think you probably do. I don't think you sit here and think, I want to keep secrets from the people I represent. I don't think, I hope, that you're sitting here thinking, I want to keep whatever information is told for me secret and away from the people who have questions. I think that you want to tell everyone what you're doing and why you think it's right. So ask Goshen to give you that opportunity. Again, if Goshen is our friend, which I don't believe, but clearly this board does, if Goshen is our friend, if Goshen belongs in this community, why do they need anything secret from it? Why do you have to keep secrets?
That's 6 minutes.
You want to go ahead and wrap it up?
There's two more people that just gave their time.
Oh,
It's
and-
another 6 minutes.
And your name?
Julie Holdup.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So please ask. And you can have Mr. Kankar send a formal letter to Goshen. He sent a very nice email to me. I've looked at him. He's a very accomplished lawyer. And you are. No, you don't have to be humble. I've seen your record. Just ask him to send a formal demand letter or notice letter to Goshen. Will you release us from the NDAs that we signed? I think the answer will be very telling. I know this board is not sitting here today weighing in on the rezoning, but you will be weighing in on a rezoning appeal. And I guarantee you there will be an appeal if that gets rezoned to I-2. So I hope you'll listen to what I have to say right now. Your city code is your constitution for this village. It is the law by which you promise to bind yourself, to honor, to uphold. Your village code does not allow a lithium battery plant. And what do I mean by that? It's very, very clear in your code. There are prohibited uses, and that includes any use that involves radioactive or highly toxic materials. It's right there, Village Code 9-9A-3. You cannot have highly toxic materials in this community, nor should you want them. So what is this Goshen plant going to use? lithium carbonate. That's a chronic aquatic hazard, meaning it will kill any freshwater life it gets into. If it gets into any of the lakes around here, if it gets into any of the rivers, you will never fish again. You will never play in that water. Your grandchildren will never grow up knowing what it is like to swim and play in Manteno. It's an oxidizer. You can't even bring lithium batteries onto a plane. If that catches fire in this community, this village doesn't even have the equipment to put out the fire. So at a minimum, table the rezoning until you have the equipment. The rezoning doesn't need to happen tomorrow. Doesn't even need to happen for a year. As we've seen in Michigan with the people I represent there, all the environmental reviews, which are mandatory, as they are in Illinois, it's already taken over a year. It's going to take a very long time for anyone here to know whether Illinois even considers this an environmentally safe project. At a minimum, wait until you have the equipment to put out the fires. At a maximum, wait until you have the environmental reviews to know what you would actually be voting on. And again, I know you're not the Planning Commission, but you will be voting on the appeal. Lithium carbonate is a teratogen. That means it causes severe birth defects. 20 years from now, some of us here may be gone. Our kids will be here. Our grandkids will be here. Our great-grandkids may be here. How many of them had to be born with birth defects for you to feel like the plant was worth it? I don't think any of you want that. And I don't think any of you have been told that lithium carbonate is a tetragen. I don't think you've been told that iron phosphate is necessary to produce lithium batteries. That is a product that you cannot use in food, you cannot use in drugs, you can't even use it in pesticides because it's so toxic to the environment. But it's going to be just a couple miles down that way, being used every single day. Synthetic graphite is going to be used in that plant. That's not water soluble. So as soon as it leaks and it gets into your rivers and your lakes, just like the lithium carbonate, your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids will never get to play in that water again. They'll never know what it's like to play in the waters of Manteno with synthetic graphite because it is a hazardous material and it doesn't dissolve. It will get into the riverbed of your rivers and lakes. It has to use hydrofluoric acid. I think we've seen enough Hollywood movies to know what hydrofluoric acid is, but if you're not, it's considered highly reactive and can create hydrogen gas when it's flamed. So not just the lithium fires, but hydrogen fires as well. It's going to use NMP. That causes birth defects, just like lithium. It also causes cancer and toxicity to the immune system and liver. I know you sit here and you hear people raise their concerns about the environment and raise their concerns about national security, and you hear it enough that it can be easier to just tone it out, but I am begging you to listen to us this time. Please, do not vote. Do not be responsible for your great-grandchildren having birth defects, for your children having cancer, for you having liver disease. That is what these chemicals do. There is a reason why these plants, when they're in China, are not built near residential areas. There is a reason why, if you just look up the lithium fire videos on YouTube, the ones that have gotten past the censorship, here you can see the absolute post-apocalyptic wasteland that these plants cause. So all I am asking you to do is wait until you have the environmental reviews. If the Illinois EPA comes down and says, we don't believe this is going to be harmful, and here's why, then you can look at these people who trusted you, who voted for you, who have come here repeatedly to ask you to represent them, and you can look them in the eye and say, I heard your concerns, I investigated it, and I have the data I need to make a legitimate decision.
That's another 6 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Need more time?
You want more, I mean, if somebody else wants to give you the time, just give me a name of who's on here. The name that,
Helen Flores.
I'm almost done, and I appreciate your time. I understand that it's going to be a late night. There's just a few simple steps, and I have spoken to many communities around the country. I have spoken to trustees like yourself, board members like yourself. I want to believe that you have good in your hearts. I want to believe that you have this community in mind, and these people want to believe that too. That's why they're here. They're here because they care. And they're here because they believe still, to this day, that you care enough to listen. So please, just listen to this. There are easy steps that you can take. Do a long-form CFIUS review. If Goshen won't answer it, that tells you everything you need to know about the national security risks. Ask to be let out of your NDAs. The worst thing that happens is Goshen says no. We need you to keep secrets from your people. Wait until you have the equipment to save your citizens if there's a fire. It's the bare minimum. Or at least ask Goshen if they're going to buy them for you. I mean, they're getting billions of dollars, millions of dollars. I think they can probably buy some firefighting equipment for the village, right? Wait for you to have the environmental reports that you need. Rezoning can happen at any time. As I know in Michigan, Goshen doesn't need it right now. They have many more steps to get through before they're ever going to break ground. So you don't need the rezoning yet. You can more than wait until you have the necessary information. It can feel now like you've made a decision, you have to stick by it, and you can't back down. But think about 20 years from now, 25 years from now. If it's revealed that Goshen is a national security concern, and your children and grandchildren ask, why didn't you do anything? And you said, well, I accepted their short form. Will you feel like that's enough? If there's a lithium fire, if there's polluted water, and they ask, why didn't you do anything? And you said, well, we approved the rezoning and we figured it'd be fine. Will that feel like enough? It wouldn't for me. And if you care about Manteno, you can take those 4 easy steps. A long-form CFIUS review, ask to be out of your NDA, wait until you have the equipment to put out any lithium and hydrogen fires, and wait for your environmental reviews to fulfill your duty, your fiduciary duty as trustees, to re-earn the trust of these people and to earn the spot that you're sitting in. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next commenter is Helen Flores. Helen? Okay. Next commenter is Amanda Piker. Okay. Next commenter is David Kukin.
I don't have any
Okay.
comments. I've been told that all our answers are tomorrow night.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
The next commenter is David Peterman.
I think he had to leave.
Okay. The next commenter is Francine Fatima.
I'm here. Good evening. There's been quite a bit in the press these days, perhaps you've seen. This build the Goshen EV manufacturing plant, and it's got all kinds of building trades and promoting it. Not a name, though. Not an individual's name. Just the organization. Anyway. This is the week of Thanksgiving, and we give thanks for our life here in America and in our town of Manteno. And we remember that good things start at home, here, not in the federal bureaucracy. No communist company can be allowed to occupy our town. It just can't. I know this is contrary to the Biden administration. He insists America is not in competition with the communist Chinese. But we are in competition, I would hope, with a communist regime, so we can keep our country free rather than enslaved, as all of the communist countries still are. So I say, USA, USA, land of the free, home of the brave. And please, don't forget that, because we, the people, have not forgotten it. No Goshen is our cry. Thank you.
Thank you. The next commenter is Paul Motel.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks again for the opportunity to speak. I'm basically here to kind of set the record straight. In an email from a public relations representative, I believe her name is Mary Patrick, I was labeled as speaker number 6 in the October 2nd meeting. As speaker number 6, she created a bullet point that said I just saw a member of the committee laughing at an individual speaking, as if it's not that big of a deal. As Mr. Doobie, Mr. Forsyth, and everyone else has reminded you, you represent us. How can any of you think it's acceptable to laugh in our faces when we are expressing our concerns, genuine concerns, over safety? In a nutshell, safety. A bunch of different aspects of safety. The other bullet point listed was concerns of a spill, environmental. I'd also like to point out I was the first individual to announce to everyone that the only way to extinguish a thermal runaway lithium battery fire is by suffocating it. By concrete, sand, dirt, any other way. It has to be suffocated. Water's not going to work. I have another question. In these FOIA requests, Smitty, or Francis Smith's email, is blacked out. I get it. He's not a public official, not an elected representative. But why is he being chimed in and cued in on all these emails, communications, and correspondence when we're here begging you for information and you're hiding behind the NDA? Mr. Doobie's asking you so pleasantly and politely to back out of. Why does he get to know? Why can't any of us? Anyway, I'll move on. I do have another small request to make. Mr. Nugent, tomorrow, at tomorrow's meeting, during public participation, do us all a favor. Please do not pack the room with unions, any other individual who would benefit, who has special interests in this, what I'd like to call atrocity. Let the residents speak first. Only the residents. Save your paid actors for the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next comment, George, did you give up your time?
I didn't have to, that I know, did I?
Okay, then you're the next one. Right.
Slow. I'm going to be nice tonight. I just want to thank all the people who are giving their time for this cause. I really appreciate you, that you guys are representing me, because I feel my board is not representing my beliefs and thoughts. So I really do deeply appreciate that all the time and effort that everybody's doing to prevent this from happening. And I just wish the board would swallow their pride and let this go and be done with it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next commenter is Rhonda Kinsler.
Good evening. I didn't prepare anything, but I want to follow up on what George said. I have never felt a sense of community in Manteno like I have the past couple months, honestly. And really, since Mayor Nugent's been in the village in this role, I feel like the whole climate of Manteno has changed immensely. It's no longer about community for you. It's about business. I feel like Manteno has become like a business enterprise for you and your family members and your friends and the people who own properties around town and the people who own companies and construction and unions. And I feel like your goal is finding ways to make them money, and it really has nothing to do with the people of Manteno unless they're one of those people. So and it really breaks my heart because my fondest memories of Manteno growing up are like the Bicentennial Parade, painting fire hydrants for the Bicentennial, and decorating our town, and everybody coming together to do things that built our town. You're not visible anywhere except at this meeting. We don't see you. Oh, you will present for the lighting of the lights, and that's disappointing. You're not the community of Manteno. And you claim to represent us, but none of the decisions you're making have anything to do with the people you claim to represent. And that's what's disappointing to me. So just wanted to share that.
Well, thank you. The next commenter is Sharon Calabria.
I'd like to update the board on the most recent egregious violations of the Communist Chinese within our country. Recently, an illegal Chinese biolab was uncovered in California. The Daily Mail and Fox News reported that a nondescript warehouse in the sleepy agricultural town of Reedley, California, imagine that, turns out to be an illegal Chinese-run virus laboratory that was genetically engineering mice and experimenting with HIV, herpes, hepatitis, malaria, coronaviruses, oh yes, and the lovely Ebola virus. Thousands of vials containing 20 different pathogens and about 1,000 dead and dying lab mice were found in the facility. While the immediate danger has been resolved, there are lingering concerns about possible contamination in the area from improper waste disposal and leakage of dangerous bacteria and viruses that could pose health dangers to area residents. Also of concern is the possibility of there being more of these labs hidden in small towns all over the U.S. Federal agencies now face criticism that they dropped the ball on investigating how pervasive the threat could be nationwide. Representative Ashley Hinson from Ohio said the following on Fox and Friends Weekend. This reads like a horror movie script when you detail all of those things that were missed by federal agencies, such as this 62-year-old man who was behind this lab was a Chinese citizen and a wanted fugitive from Canada. How was he able to obtain these pathogens? How is he able to get away with running this lab while getting millions of dollars sent to him from the Chinese Communist Party? And then obviously coming into our country and stealing American intellectual property. End of article. I think you all need to reconsider making any agreements with our number one enemy, Communist China, which has been confirmed by the CIA that they are our number one enemy. They have proven over and over they cannot be trusted. Anybody here forget who we have to thank for the coronavirus? And what will be next on the board's agenda? Maybe we should let Iran or Hamas open up some headquarters here in Manteno. Would that be a good idea? I know you want to expand the tax base of Manteno, but at what cost? The real value of Manteno are the wonderful people who live here. Good people are fleeing states like California, New York, and Illinois. They are moving to states like Florida, Texas, and Tennessee. The progressives have ruined all of the big cities, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, just to name a few. But Manteno has always been a hidden jewel.
That's time.
In the midst of all the surrounding crime and corruption, if you bring Goshen to Manteno, you will lose the best part of Manteno. It's decent, law-abiding, patriotic, love your neighbor citizens. We will just move on to the next small town in America, but it probably won't be in Illinois.
Thank you. Next commenter is Jillian Rojas.
I just want you guys all to find it in your heart to reconsider what you're doing here, to ask for the CFIS, to ask for the NDA to be lifted. You have families, you have children, we have families, we have children, we have grandchildren. Why would you want to put them in harm's way of the enemy? Why? Can you honestly go to bed at night knowing that you sold your town out to the Chinese Communist Party? Do you really feel good about that? Is there nowhere else in this country we can find to do business with? Why in our own backyard? Why risk polluting the Kankakee River that goes for miles throughout the state of Illinois? I ask that you find it in your hearts to reconsider what you're doing here until you have more information. Do the environmental impact study. Isn't it worth it? Make the Chinese pay for it. They're getting billions of dollars from us. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. That concludes the commenters tonight. The next item on the agenda is the village president's report. Jacob, you want to talk about the event you have coming up?
Sure thing. So Christmas in Manteno is just about 2 weeks underway here. Preparations are in full effect. It's the same Christmas in Manteno that we've all come to enjoy over the last few years with a couple newer enhancements, if you will. The event is from 3 to 8 p.m. this year, and we have the addition of the holiday market, which will feature over 30 vendors. Our holiday entertainment, of course, we've kind of upped that a little bit with the school, Dance Alive, the strips, and then, of course, the grand lighting of Main Street at 7 o'clock. Santa will be in the square from 3 to 7 p.m. doing photos and visiting with the kids. And our Christmas tree lane, of course, which is sponsored by the Chamber, will have over 40 trees featured where people can cast their vote for their favorite tree. And the money awarded will go to a nonprofit of that winner's choice. So,
Okay, thank you very much. Village administrator's report, Mr. Leroy.
Thank you, Mayor. Just have one update on the property tax rebate. We're wrapping that up. All but a few applications have been vetted, and we had a total of 1,591 applications, of which 57 have been denied for various reasons, mostly either didn't pay the tax bill on time or did not live in the house for the entire year of 2022. The total rebate value that the village is sending back to residents is $966,616.99. That's all.
And those will be mailed out when?
They'll be going out the first week of December, so.
And
should
so
see 'em in
people
2
can
to 3
expect to
weeks.
receive them sometime in the first 4 or 5 days of December?
Yep.
Okay.
How many applications did you say was approved?
1,591.
Thank you.
Yep, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Rock. Committee reports, Public Works and Utilities, Mr. Boyce.
I have nothing on the agenda. I do have a meeting 11/28 right here at 7 a.m. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Boyce. Properties and Recreation, Mr. Martin. Okay. Public Safety and Health, Mrs. Dole.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one item on the agenda tonight, consideration, a motion to authorize the purchase of 2 2024 Ford Explorers from Taylor Ford, Manteno, at a cost of $45,209 each. This is a state bid price, so this is the best bid we can get. Al, would you like to, Chief, I would like to add any more?
No, every year we try to replace 2 squad cars and keep them on and save on maintenance services. They haven't been available for a long time when they opened up, so we went ahead and put an order on.
The 2 cars, are they, we trading them in, or are you going to? Okay.
We'll bump down get rid of 2 oldest cars and bump down those 2 cars and put these on the road.
Will these be marked units?
Yes.
We had to close the door so we can hear.
Very good. So
Or just ask them to talk outside so we can leave. You can leave one of the doors open. Is that all, Mrs. Dole?
yeah, no, I mean, that's,
Okay.
you know, we're going to be a while before we get them, so that's why we're not going to surplus the other ones until.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take.
Yeah, so my next public safety meeting is December 13th here at 7 a.m. in the Village Boardroom. My safety tip is the most traveled holiday period is Thanksgiving weekend, as more people are on the roads for holiday festivities and are traveling home to their loved ones. Thanksgiving weekend is also one of the most dangerous holidays in terms of drunk driving deaths. The eve of Thanksgiving is actually considered the busiest night on U.S. roads, which leads to multiple highway fatalities and pedestrian deaths. While during the winter months, the data shows that an estimated 40% of all traffic accidents during Christmas and New Year's involve drunk drivers. Unfortunately, the Manteno police are seeing an uptick in DUI-related accidents. Just last week, the police department handled a DUI accident where not only the husband was intoxicated, causing an accident, but his wife, who was following in another vehicle, was intoxicated as well. Both were arrested for DUI with blood alcohol contents twice the legal limit. Fortunately, no one was killed during this accident, but only by luck. If you are going out with the possibility of drinking alcohol, please consider using a designated driver, ride share, or simply just not drinking. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Dole. Planning and zoning, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything on the agenda this evening, but we do have a Planning and Zoning Committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, the 28th, 7 a.m. Here in the Village Boardroom. The next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, November the 21st at 6 p.m. That will be held at the elementary school gym, which is located at 555 West Cook Street. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett. Finance, Mr. Geske.
Thank you, Mayor. I have payment of bills in the amount of $181,512.71, which does not include any TIF bills. There have been no bills authorized or paid between board cycle, and our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for December 13th at 7 a.m. That's different than what is posted on the agenda. There was a typo on there. It will be on December 13th, not December 12th. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Geske. General Government, Mr. Phillips. So the items we'll be voting on the consent agenda are as follows. So we have the motion to authorize the purchase of 2 2024 Ford Explorers from Taylor Ford Manteno at a cost of $49,209 each, which is a state bid price, and a motion to approve the payment of the bills in the amount of $181,512.71, of which none of them are from TIF. Are there any items on the consent agenda that need to be voted on individually? Okay. And then we don't need to do a consent agenda, I need a motion to approve the payment of the bills.
Make that motion.
Motion by Dole.
Second.
Second by Geske. This is just for the financial report payment of the bills. Roll call.
Dole?
Yes.
Geske?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Crockett?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Motion carries. And I'll need a second motion to authorize the purchase of the 2 Ford Explorers.
So make that motion.
Motion by Crockett, second by Geske. Roll call.
Crockett?
Yes.
Geske?
Yes.
Boyce? Martin?
Yes.
Dole?
Yes.
Phillips?
Motion carries. Comments tonight? Mr. Boyce, you have anything you want to talk about? Mr. Martin?
I have nothing.
Mrs. Dole?
Well, hope to see everybody on December 2nd. So for the Christmas in Manteno, it's always a beautiful night. So.
Mr. Crockett?
I just want to thank or wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Mr. Geske?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to address some of the comments that we had this evening and actually what's going to happen tomorrow. First, I will agree with what most people say. Our town is beautiful. Our town's been beautiful. Most of you have moved here or continue to live here because of that. That said, this village administration that has been enforced, the people that have been attacked, have been in office for the better part of 18 years. They've made some tough decisions to make this community what it is today. Okay? I wish that every decision was as easy as choosing the winner of the snowman competition, but it's not. We've got a very tough decision to be made about Goshen. I have spoken to every trustee here, and we have questions. So to answer why we don't always respond to the questions you have, we don't have all the answers. We don't. That's what tomorrow is designed for, okay? No. Goshen will be there. Our meeting tomorrow, we hope to get some answers, okay? To answer questions that we still have. That doesn't mean that every question that we have will be answered tomorrow, or every question you have will be answered tomorrow. Tomorrow's process is very important, and the ladies and gentlemen who are in the Plan Commission, they're an advisory committee that will vote tomorrow to advise us as their recommendation. That said, I guess I'm going to encourage each and every person who chooses to participate tomorrow to not use it as a personal attack. The personal attacks that happen in the open public forum are counterproductive to us doing anything. I've talked to a couple of you outside here and I've expressed that same thing, yet time and time again, we get personal attacks. And they happen tonight. This is my turn to talk, okay? That said, tomorrow, I ask everyone to be respectful, ask the questions you want answers to, so that this way we can get answers to them. But please do not attack the people who are sitting there that are trying to have the village best interest at heart. Every single person in here has the village best interest at heart, and the people that will be hearing it tomorrow do as well. I appreciate you guys coming and giving comments. It gives us things to think about, but personal attacks are not going to get the job done. And that's all I have. Thank you. Wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mr. Geske. Mr. Phillips.
I agree.
I have nothing further. Tomorrow night, the doors will open at 5 o'clock, is that correct? 5 o'clock at the middle school. The meeting will take place will start at 6, and will go on as long as is necessary in order to complete the information that, that's going to be presented and the questions that are going to be asked. So, I have nothing further. I accept the motion to adjourn. Pardon? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. At the elementary school on Cook Street. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's 555 West Cook, the one on the newest one on the south side of town, across from Heritage Park.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody, that it's the West Gymnasium, I believe it is. So there'll be a sign at the door for Planning Commission hearings, so people will know what entryway to go into. And I have nothing further. I accept the motion to adjourn. Motion by Boyce, second by Martin. Roll call.
Boyce? Yes. Martin? Yes. Dole? Yes. Crockett?
Yes.
Geske?
Yes.
Phillips?
Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming, for watching.